Hello and welcome back to another episode here on the 1937 Capehart 405E restoration. Okay, we have all the electronics now completed. Everything is clean and serviced. That is both the 12-inch speaker, the 13.5-inch speaker, which are both of the Jensen quality. We have our radio tuner here. Now there was a lot of rodent damage to all three chassis, so we cleaned to the best of our ability without making any altercations. So I reinforced the IF wires there on the back and checked all of our radio tubes here on the tuner. They all test strong, no issues there. We cleaned our I tube. We also cleaned the entire dial face. It looks practically brand new, as you can see there. Cleaned all the knobs. Went through everything really on here on the tuner. So we have a new dial string or a dial belt installed. And we also replaced the wiring, as you can see here. Replaced the pilot lamp wiring that was bad previously. Checked all the pilot lamps, cleaned those as well. Top side of the treble amplifier, we checked all of our tubes. Two of them we replaced. They were the substitutes that were right here, which were General Electric tubes of later era, 50s or 60s time period. So we replaced them with period correct 6L6s that I had in stock. These tubes test good. Everything else tests good as well on this chassis. So we just did a generalized cleaning here on both the treble and bass amp. Cleaned all of our tube shields and everything else. Replaced the power cord on both the treble and bass. So that's kind of all three chassis clean there. Let's go ahead and check out the underside to see the service work we did there. Okay, the underside of all three chassis here, we have the radio tuner up first. You can see replaced all the wax capacitors, including the electrolytic can. We checked all of our resistors and our mica values, and they actually all tested within spec, believe it or not. We went ahead and lubricated our IF wheel here, and we also fixed all the wires that had mouse issues or mouse damage. So some of those go deep into the chassis. This is our band switch control here. So we've serviced that. There were some capacitors that go deep down underneath a band switch here. We've serviced those, as well as our coils here, some capacitance under there. So we used all Mallory brand, and the electrical work is complete on the tuner. There is a capacitor here in this housing with a coil that was taken apart and cleaned as well. So, or excuse me, serviced and cleaned. So we replaced the capacitor that sits inside this can. Here's our treble amplifier. We have our new electrolytics, which are dry capacitance, so they really are not electrolytics. Here are the three old ones. We're using Solon French-made dry capacitors that'll last 30, 40 years, if not longer. So we checked our divider network here. It's good. All the wiring has been cleaned up. New wiring installed for our electrolytic replacements. We've replaced all resistors and capacitors here on this chassis, as you can see here. A rather small network for the treble amp. And then over here on the bass amp, which is a larger network, we replaced all the electrolytics. And we used wet electrolytics as well as dry capacitance here. You can see in various areas. And we went ahead and replaced all the wiring for those electrolytic cans, which originally sat here. Here's the new network. All the capacitors and resistors have been replaced on this chassis as well. So everything nice and neat. And all the values of everything are to spec. Of course, replaced the power cord both on the bass amp and the treble. So here on the bass we have an open section between this divider resistor These are USA made parts that were installed previously by a previous technician years ago. They are good, and we went ahead and utilized those once again. That's high quality USA grade parts. Kind of hard to find these days. So we utilize that once again here in the base chassis. Well, that's all three electrical components here serviced. Now we are going to set up everything in the next video and test the performance of the radio circuit. Stay tuned.